Hey there. Oh, gosh. Hang on. Hey there. I'm so bad at this. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm John Weber. This is Mr. Weber's Webo Mystery, but please call me John. And oh boy, we're back. There was a fire here where I live in Camarillo, California. It was devastating. We were very, very lucky, very blessed. I am a praying person, and I feel the blessings, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I still have my home. I still have my office where I have this studio, and I am so glad that you are here. It's perfect. I couldn't ask for more. We lost a couple of things. We lost some storage, and I had a very big comic book collection. thousands of comic books. Did I have the first appearance of Superman? No. Did I have, Detective Comics #1? No. But I had some great stuff from the 70s and onward, and everything else survived, not the comics. So what I've been saying the whole time was, I'll take it. It was a good bargain. To have my family safe and home and have lost nobody or anything. What a blessing. And what a blessing it is to be with you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into a Sunday sermon. But honestly, I love that you're here. And I love that I get to do this for you. And yes, we missed a week, but again, small price to pay. All the prices that I have paid have been within my means as a person. And Chris says I had all the first Marvel stuff. Oh my, Spidey, Hulk, Thor, and my mom threw them out when I went in the Air Force. Oh, like a dagger through the heart, Chris. Oh, I'm so sorry. Joe Townsend and I, who partner on so many of the shows that I do. Joe Townsend and I have commiserated a lot on losing our Mad magazines. When I went to college, my parents had a big yard sale. They sold all my Mad magazines. And they made like $4. That was the other one. I was like, what'd you sell them for? My dad was like, like a nickel a piece. I don't know, shrug. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody, let's get this show started, shall we?
Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery.
Oh yeah! Welcome to the Web O Mystery. Oh my goodness. Okay. So tonight's episode was going to be just a little bit after the special date that's marked by this particular episode. We're going to listen to the old time radio show from the New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, 1948. This one is called The Guy Fawkes Society. Now, we Americans, and I'm assuming we're Americans here, but hey, if I'm wrong, you let us know in the chat, would you please? Wonderful people in the chat. They'll have a great conversation with you. They always do. But it's a lot. It's a lot to know the Guy Fawkes plot. So I'm terrible at history, but I will do my best. I will do my best, my friends, to get us through. Yes, penny for the guy, says Diana J. Brody, because that is something that is said on Guy Fawkes Day. Let's see what I managed to. Right. That's right, Ralph. It's like I'm leading a study group. The Gunpowder Plot, of course, the Gunpowder Plot of Guy Fawkes. Now, Guy Fawkes Day is normally celebrated on November 5th. And had there not been a massive fire, I would have presented it to you on November 7th. It being much later than that now, hey, it's still a great show. It's still interesting history. And it'll still be quite interesting. Now, one of the things that this show does not do well, this episode, is explain the Guy Fawkes Day. And the explanation coming from the narrator is hilariously not good. So I hope you get a chuckle out of it, as I do. Guy Fawkes Day in the UK, November 5th, the Gunpowder Plot of 1605. Catholic conspirators attempted to blow up the Houses of Parliament and assassinate the king, King James I. Now, his successor would be Elizabeth, and Elizabeth was Catholic. So these conspirators wanted to go back to the Catholic Church, not the Church of England. And they were, they really thought it was important to have a Catholic on the throne. The Gunpowder Plot was put together by several Catholics. One of them was Guy Fawkes. Now, Guy Fawkes was kind of a middleman in the whole thing. He was just a really experienced soldier. And I'm, from my research, apparently quite a man of action. He had been, he had already served the crown. He had already been a soldier for the crown. Now this subgroup breaking off needed him to help them. One of the things they were going to do was find a storeroom very, very close to the Houses of Parliament, and in that storeroom stuff it with barrels of gunpowder. And they did actually find a room that they rented and secretively would pack with gunpowder. Guy Fawkes was in charge of that room. Traditionally, it is said he was caught coming and going. I believe what I hear mostly is he was leaving. He had checking it out, leaving when he was caught. But how did they know? There's actually a little part of the story that I think sometimes gets overlooked. And that was, there were in the House of Lords Catholics. And the plotters of the Gunpowder Plot did not want to kill Catholics. So they warned William Parker. He was the 4th Baron Monteagle. They sent him a letter. And he, William Parker, being loyal to the crown, told everyone, look, there's a plot. So they searched for all the places where the gunpowder could be found, and they caught Guy Fawkes. We should probably get into the show right now. This is this is a great chance for us to use that as a jumping off point. And yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm very, very proud. And yes, in the popular culture right now, we all know, as Ralph refers to, V for Vendetta, of course, a comic book series, graphic novel by Alan Moore and David Lloyd. Beautiful. I used to own it. It burned up in a fire. But I love this series. I'm a big Alan Moore fan. And thank you, Chris. Unfortunately, that's the only good segue I had. Oh my goodness. All right. So yes, let us share screen. I can't remember which YouTube account I was going to use. Where are you? Okay. Oh yeah, Nikola Tesla wireless radio. A fantastic account for old time radio shows. And let us go to the beginning here. My friends, from the you know what? We're going to take a break about halfway through, and then I'm going to tell you the story I used to tease everybody about the unusual Sherlock Holmes that we're enjoying in this episode. I got too excited about, remember the 5th of November. So let's just get right into it, and then we'll talk about this Holmes about halfway through. Here we go.
From New York City, the makers of Clippercraft clothes for men and more than 1,200 leading retail stores from coast to coast present Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's immortal character, the world's most famous detective, Sherlock Holmes, starring John Stanley. This week's adventure, the Guy Fawkes Society.
But Holmes, you're running an unspeakable risk. Can't you allow the police to handle this themselves?
No, Watson, I must be there myself.
Well, shouldn't you take along a revolver, a weapon of some sort?
I think not. They might decide to examine everyone entering the warehouse. No, I shall attend the secret meeting of this bloodthirsty society, accompanied only by my second closest friend, my meerschaum pipe. We're at the door of Dr. John Watson's study, and we're about to hear another of his adventures with the fabulous Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Harris.
Good evening, Dr. Watson. Have you assembled all the facts for the memoir you're currently writing, Dr. Watson?
Yes, Mr. Harris. It's the adventure of the Guy Fawkes Society.
Guy Fawkes? You mean the arch conspirator of 17th century England?
The very same.
Well, what sort of organization was this society, Doctor?
Well, it was a secret cult formed in 1897. Their membership consisted entirely of fanatics devoted to one of the most horrifying purposes imaginable.
And what was their purpose?
Well, I shall reveal the incredible secret at the appropriate time, Mr. Harris. But now it would seem is the appropriate time for a word about those remarkable Clippercraft clothes.
So it is, Doctor. Let me paint a little word picture of you in the fine local store that sells Clippercraft clothes. Look expensive, don't they? But you try on a Clippercraft suit anyway. Feel comfortable? Okay. Now you walk over to the mirror. You might as well admit it. You do look like $1 million, and you're thinking, this will really smash my budget. And then you look at the price. It just can't be true. But it is. Only $40 or $47.50, depending on the Clippercraft model you prefer. How can it be? Well, more than 1,200 of America's finest independent stores from coast to coast have put their combined purchasing power into action to save you money. It's the reason only $47.50 buys you a smart Clippercraft suit of worsted fabrics that can take the hardest wear you'll give. Yes, for suits, top coats, and sport coats, you'll find Clippercraft values at the head of the class. Compare Clippercraft with clothes selling for many dollars more. And now, Dr. Watson, what was the Guy Fawkes Society?
Well, Mr. Harris, it was the beginning of November 1897. Holmes and I were returning to 221 B. Baker Street after a late dinner. We were enveloped in unprecedented yellow fog. We were groping our way up the stairs toward our flats.
Have you the key, Watson?
Yes, here we are. If I can find the lock, Oh, confound it, there's something on the floor here. Kicked it with my foot. Well, I'll see if I can budge it out of the way. Holmes, it feels like a body.
Match, Watson.
Yeah, right. Good heavens, Holmes, it's a man. His throat's been cut. Will you look at this pool of blood?
Light that lamp, Watson.
Yes, certainly, certainly.
Yes. His throat's been slit from ear to ear.
Look, Holmes, on the wall. There's handwriting.
Someone's evidently dipped his finger in the dead man's blood and scrawled a message.
Yes, it says, Guy Fawkes lives. Guy Fawkes lives? Now, what sort of diabolical nonsense is that? Shall I fetch the police, Holmes?
In due course, we shall observe that technicality. Let's have a closer look at the corpse.
What's that in his hand? Is that a chunk of wood?
Pine wood, Watson.
Oh, look, there's some sort of grease at the tip of the wood.
From the odor, Watson, I should say it was oil.
What the dickens do you suppose he was going to do with a chunk of wood dipped in oil?
Clearly, the dead man was preparing a torch.
Torch, Holmes, that's absurd. Why should anyone want to be marching about with a torch?
The weather about which you've been complaining throughout the evening supplies the answer to that riddle.
You mean the fog?
The unbelievably thick fog, Watson. The torch, coupled with the fog, signifies that the dead man lying before us was a link boy.
Link boy. Yes, I've heard the term. Can't say I've ever seen one.
The venerable tradition originates from the days when it was necessary to accompany members of Parliament home due to the danger of their being attacked by thieves and dissenters and riffraff. Of course, the custom has been abandoned, except for those rare occasions when London suffers an impossible fog. Then the link boys with their torches are called out to escort the parliamentarians homeward. Anything in his pocket?
No, there's nothing.
This man's torch hasn't been used. He was therefore on his way to perform his duties. Come, Watson, we're off to see the Sergeant-at-Arms of the Parliament buildings. We shall ask the name of the link boy who failed to appear this evening.
You intend to leave the body here, just like this?
Of course, but I shall mention it to the first policeman we meet. And thanks to the nature of bureaucratic ineptitude, we shall be many steps ahead of them, while they're still here scribbling in their little notebooks.
We certainly had the Sergeant-at-Arms and Parliament baffled, asking all those questions about the link boy without ever telling him what it was all about, eh? Let's see now, Holmes. Let's see, we've learned that the dead man's name was Harold Pickering, that Mrs. Hudson admitted him downstairs, that Pickering asked for you, that she saw him go up. The two other gentlemen appeared at the front door a moment later, one of them misshapen and very ugly, that she saw them go up. She then went back inside to her rooms and heard and saw nothing after that until the police arrived. Then we... Holmes, what are you doing to your face?
Smudging it with soot.
What for?
I must assume a disreputable appearance, Watson.
You must assume what?
There we are. Now, off with this tweed suit. And into some tattered things. Unfortunately, you cannot accompany me on this grotesque mission, Watson.
Where are you going?
You'll recall that at Parliament we were told that the dead man, Pickering, resided on Bridge Road by the West India Docks. We were also told that he spent a considerable portion of his time at various pubs in that vicinity. I intend to visit every shabby spot on Bridge Road.
But why the disguise?
I hope to learn what it was that Mr. Pickering wished to tell me when he came here. Obviously, it was something so insidious that it was necessary to cut his throat before he had a chance to talk. I shall visit the pest holes of Bridge Road. I shall be very vocal about loathing the government.
You were never in here before, were you?
That's quite right.
Do you mind if I sit down with you? Feel a kind of lonesome. I like to make friends with everybody who comes in. Do you like this place?
Very much.
It's the best around this part of London. But try the other places.
Yes, this is my fourth tavern tonight.
My name's Maud. Maud Peters. What's yours?
Like so many of your customers, Maud, I must ask you to accept a significant silence in answer to that question.
Ah, you've a fancy way of talking. Did you hear me sing?
Yes. Delightful.
Aren't you going to tell me anything about yourself? Where'd you come from? What's your game?
Anything's my game, Maud.
Why'd you keep watching the door? Look, you can trust Maud. Everyone will tell you that. The police looking for you?
They might be.
What sort of job did you do?
Suppose we just say that it was unpatriotic.
Is that all you're going to tell me?
Yes, suffice it that it was unpatriotic. I have very little use for our current government. I'm one of those who feels that England, once master of the planet, is collapsing of its own weight.
Ah, You sound just like him.
Like who?
A friend of mine. He always talks that way. He'd like you. You talk like you've got brains. You'd be helpful.
Helpful? To whom? For what purpose?
Did you say anything's your game?
I did.
Would murder be your game?
If it were worth the candle?
I don't mean just taking care of some blokes in a dark alleyway with a pocket knife. We can find plenty around here to do that for a few pounds or a few drinks. I'm talking about murder in a much bigger way. I mean killing a few hundred people, maybe 1,000. You have the stomach for that?
If there's sufficient to be gained, I'm your man.
Oh, there's more than money in it.
Is there?
Much, much more. It's a wonderful scheme. And there's a wonderful man running it. You and he did it all fine.
Why don't you introduce me to the gentleman?
Maybe I will. He wants all the help he can find. Yes, you come along with me. It's just a minute's walk from here, close by the dock. It's a basement under an empty warehouse. It's his headquarters.
Who's Maud?
He's the leader of the Guy Fawkes Society. You'll see you now.
About time. I might catch my death of cold sitting here waiting in this damp basement.
He's in the next room. Now just go through that door. Here, you better take my candle. It's dark as pitch.
Thank you.
Oh, I must tell you, you may think he's a bit balmy at first. He says strange things sometimes, but that's just his way. He's really brilliant. And don't be frightened by Gerardo.
Gerardo?
Gerardo's the leader's man, sort of his bodyguard and secretary. Gerardo's the ugliest man I've ever seen. Most of his face was burnt off in the fire. Oh, but he won't hurt you. I'll wait out here. Go on through that door.
Very well.
Come in. Come in. I am Gerardo.
How do you do?
Before I introduce you to our leader, would you raise your hand? Higher, please. You do not have a gun or a knife, I hope.
No, I have not.
I just want to be sure. A mere formality. I have the honor to introduce our leader.
Sit down. Get out, Gerardo.
But, Mr. Get out! Yes, sir.
Maud tells me that you wish to join our ranks. Possibly. I don't know anything about you. I could be rather verbose about you, though. You, sir? You're extremely nervous, vain, and have spent a great deal of time outside of England. To be more specific, in a tropical country. How do you know? Those pencils on your desk, chewed almost to the point of uselessness. The restless way you pace up and down before me. The nervousness is inescapable. As for your vanity, you're squinting your eyes in order to have a better view of me, a characteristic of nearsightedness. You require spectacles, but do not wear them. You've spent a sizable portion of your life in tropical countries because your teeth have a distinctive corrosion caused by endless munching upon sugar cane. Good. Very good. Maybe Maud was right about me. I have need of men with their wits about them. Ours is a great task. It's a bloody and dangerous task. But the reward will be well worth the sacrifice. What is the task, Mr. Stewart? What I shall say may sound fantastic, but the truth is often very shocking. My name is Douglas Stewart. My genealogy may be traced to the Stuarts who once ruled my England. Really? You don't seem to believe it. Well, It's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth. I can prove that I am the rightful ruler of the British Empire. I've been cheated of my birthright. Have you? They plotted against me. The impostors who sit now upon my throne, they plotted against me. When I went to them, when I made my claim, they accused me of being insane. They are nothing but animals wallowing in the sty of their wealth and privilege. They must be exterminated. They held me prisoner. Oh? Where, Mr. Stewart? On what charge? They held me prisoner in a hospital for a year, a hospital for the mentally ill. When were you released? I was not released. They would have kept me there until I died. They tortured me. I escaped. Now I'm free, and I shall strike back. What is your plan, Mr. Stewart? I'm not well. They made me sick in that hospital. They injected me with drugs. I'm not well. But
But I need men of strength to surround me.
What is your plan, Mr. Stewart?
Those who have marched with me will share my inevitable triumph.
March with you where? When?
We are known as the Guy Fawkes Society. Can you imagine why?
Quite evident. Guy Fawkes, a deserter, was smuggled back into England by a group of conspirators in 1605.
Yes.
They plotted to overthrow James II and his government.
Overthrow him.
They planned to do this by concealing a huge store of gunpowder beneath both houses of Parliament.
Yes.
They intended to blow up both houses and stage a coup d'etat. Their plan was exposed. And on November the 4th of 1605, they were captured and imprisoned. I dare say that you have revived the Guy Fawkes plan.
Yes, I have. Guy Fawkes Day is just 48 hours away. We've dug secret tunnels in the proper places. In just 48 hours, Guy Fawkes' plan to blow up Parliament, its members, and the royal family will become a reality.
Well, Dr. Watson, Mr. Holmes has uncovered a breathtaking scheme.
Yes, he certainly has, Mr. Harris. And you've provided me with just the word I've been seeking.
Well, what word is that?
Breathtaking is the word for Clippercraft clothes, subject on which you're well qualified to speak, sir. Bojo?
Thank you, Dr. Watson. Men who used to spend small fortunes on their clothes are now wearing expensive-looking Clippercraft suits, because Clippercraft gives them all the handsome looks and long, dependable wear they demand without digging deep into their savings. Why, they pay only $40 and $47.50 for Clippercraft suits you'd swear cost twice as much. Really fine fabrics and top-notch tailoring are unheard of at prices as low as Clippercraft. Then, what's the trick? Well, what do you suppose happens when more than 1,200 of this country's finest independent stores from coast to coast, stores you can trust, concentrate their huge buying power? You're absolutely right. Their combined purchasing power drastically cuts the cost of manufacturing and distribution. Doesn't take an adding machine to figure out how Clippercraft's unique operation saves you money, or why Clippercraft suits are such terrific values at only $40 and $47.50. That's why men who know insist on Clippercraft clothes. So be sure to visit the Clippercraft store in your city.
These leading stores in the metropolitan area are proud to add their names to Clippercraft in your suits, top coats, and sport jackets. In Manhattan, Saks 34th, Broadway at 34th. John Wanamaker Men's Stores, Broadway at 8th and 67 Liberty Street. In Brooklyn, Abraham and Strauss. In Newark, New Jersey, Boulevard Men's Shop, Kresge Newark. And in Jamaica, the B&B Clothes Shop, 16408 Jamaica Avenue.
That's 1948 right there in New York. That's very cool. Really, I don't think Guy Fawkes was wearing a Clippercraft suit, but he might have been. They really did have great hats back then. Who knew? I do want to tell you about this Sherlock Holmes because Ralph in the comments is absolutely right. This is not Basil Rathbone as pictured by the guy who made this video. We love you. Thank you for making this video. Both Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce, who are pictured here, had been replaced at this point. Oh man, that is really funny. $40 for a suit. Oh boy, I could go for one of those. That's for sure. And thank you, Joe. And Spider Hat, thanks you as well. Here, little tip of the Spider Hat to you, my friend. Let me read this article. There is one source of information about this Sherlock Holmes, one that I could find, and it was from the Baker Street Wikipedia. It is an actual newspaper article. It is not newspaper. It's from a radio fan magazine called the Radio Times, and it discusses this actor. His name is John Stanley. I'm just going to read the article. It's really for a puff piece of publicity. It's actually quite good. When you hear the clipped British accent of John Stanley as Sherlock Holmes, Mutual, Sunday night, 7 p.m. on the Eastern Standard Time, you can almost see the fog swirling and eerie as it blankets Baker Street. It's a cinch for actor Stanley to sound as though he was born in London because he was born in London. Not only that, but during his early childhood, John lived only a half mile from the famed Baker Street hangout of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's celebrated sleuth. Although Stanley was born in England, he came to America. He was an American the moment he came into the world. John's father was Professor Henry W.S. Stanley, and John was born while his parent was teaching diction at St. Mark's College in London. The wife of Professor Stanley was also an American, and all of their 4 children were raised in England. John graduated from Malvern College. When I was 21 years old, he explains, the urge to come to my own country suddenly began to eat away at me. My father had told me so much about his native New England that I decided I just had to see it. It was quite a decision to make because young Stanley had 2 successful seasons behind him as an actor-director in the London theater. Ooh, not too shabby. But he sailed for Providence, Rhode Island, a stranger in his own country. I didn't have time to feel lost or lonely, the actor recalled, smiling. I went to work 2 weeks after the boat docked. I got a job on station WJAR. In Providence. What got me the job was not the fact that I had played Shakespeare, but the station manager's discovery that I could sing a little. That is such a common story in old-time radio. Announcers becoming actors and writers and producers because they had many abilities. If you could sing, that was actually a great thing. Stanley's radio debut was made as a singer. He did a weekly 15-minute song recital. It didn't last too long as listeners were confused by his English accent as he rendered popular ballads. Oh, that exotic English accent. I'm sorry, I lost my place being a wise guy. He switched to announcing, then did script writing, broadcast special events, and did spot acting jobs. When John Stanley replaced Basil Rathbone as Sherlock Holmes, many listeners could not tell the difference in the quality of their voices. Stanley likes playing the role, although the sound of British voices all around him in the studio sometimes makes him nostalgic for London. Oh. John is married, lives in Rye, New York, and is the father of 2 sons, Johnny 10 and David 7. He is a calm, pleasant, reserved man who likes to play the cello, which he does quite well, and now and then engage in a rousing game of bridge. Well, I don't know if you have sussed out, how great John Stanley is. But really, this is all we know. This article and his work. Now, he did, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, he did 68 episodes of this. So for a little more than a year, he was Sherlock Holmes on the premier Sherlock Holmes show of its time, The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So that's what I've been teasing everybody with. This may be a Sherlock Holmes that you don't know anything about, but I absolutely love his portrayal of the character. And I'm a huge Basil Rathbone fan, so that probably explains a lot of it too. And at no point do I ever compare and contrast. To me, that's just a great Sherlock Holmes. So there we go. Ralph says Tom Conway, the Mr. Stanley. Tom Conway was also a fantastic Sherlock Holmes. And I think this article might be wrong because it was my understanding that Tom Conway was the immediate successor to Basil Rathbone, so much so that he played Sherlock Holmes to Nigel Bruce, who stayed on the show as Dr. Watson. Well, we'll see. There's so much to the story of radio shows versions of Sherlock Holmes. There are so many of them. They are quite good. Hey, and look, Shode's with us. Hello, Shode. Thank you for joining us. We're having a great time. Let's get back to the show. I do want to throw in one little commercially announcement. Sorry. Yes, I'm sorry I read it like that, Ralph. I make typos all the time. I do want to tell you next week's show is this is not necessarily a mystery. It's more a thriller. In the world of old time radio fans, this one is, and I know the folks in chat who love old time radio and know a lot about it will know this show. It is a fantastic show, and I'm so excited to play it for you. As you know, Escape, one of my favorite series, top favorite series of old time radio, great series. Vincent Price. Now, I'm not really familiar with his version of this. I've heard some others. So I'm looking forward to us hearing this all together. Next week, we will be hearing Three Skeleton Key. It is an absolute bone chiller. If it does not freak you out, you are a stronger person than me. So join us next Thursday night for Three Skeleton Key here on the Web O Mystery. And yeah, absolutely, Ralph. A classic. If you don't know this show, you are going to be very uncomfortable listening to it. If you do know this show, you can get very uncomfortable listening to it. So, yeah, it's going to be a creep fest. I hope you will join us next week as we listen to this one. Okay, my friends, getting back to our good friend, Sherlock Holmes. Hang on. I gotta make sure I do this right. What are you doing, John? Oh, you know, just very publicly engineering this show. Okay, here we go.
Now, shall we return to the Guy Fawkes Society, Dr. Watson?
We most certainly shall, Mr. Harris. Holmes left the dank, dirty cellar where he'd held his bizarre rendezvous with Douglas Stewart. He returned to 221B Baker Street and recapitulated his experience for him. Good gracious, Holmes, a plan to blow up both houses of Parliament. I can hardly believe it. Shall we inform Scotland Yard of your discovery?
Not just yet, Watson. Impetuosity is a trap into which we must not fall. If the police should intervene at this point, Stewart and his vile henchmen would simply protest their innocence and elude justice. They must be captured with the evidence.
Aha, I see. You're waiting to determine their plan of operation. Then you'll strike.
Exactly. And I shall have that information this evening when the entire membership of the society convenes, in that same waterfront spot where the renegade Stewart has his headquarters. As a neophyte, I've been invited to attend their ritual.
Well, Holmes, haven't they questioned you about your own reliability?
Extensively.
I imagine Gerardo was impressed, eh?
Quite. Therefore, I'm off to the foul cellar where the chief lieutenants of the Guy Fawkes Society meet in unholy conclave.
I see you've joined us. I'm glad.
Are you, Maud?
Douglas told me that he's pleased you've joined us.
I appreciate the accolade.
Douglas tells me everything.
He does?
Yes, we sit by the river talking. He tells me about what he'll give me when he's in the palace. A maid of my own, perfumes from France.
He must be very fond of you.
Fond as he can be of anyone, I guess. He thinks about his plans, mostly. Sometimes he doesn't see me for weeks. Oh, here's Gerardo.
Wine, Maud.
Thank you, Gerardo.
Some for you, too.
Ah, Burgundy. Pomar.
We do not drink until the leader enters. Then he will propose the toast. There he is. Silence! The leader speaks. Everyone, rise.
We raise our glasses in praise. In praise! To Guy Fawkes!
Guy Fawkes!
To his fearless crew! To Robert Catesby!
Catesby!
John Wright!
Right!
Thomas Winter!
Winter!
Quiet! Now, I want each of you to pay close attention. Tunnels are ready, Gerardo?
Yes, sir.
Good. For those of you who are new, my most trusted men have dug tunnels beneath the streets.
Where are the tunnels, Mr. Stewart?
We work down from the back of the tea room on Parliament Square, Mrs. Ward's tea shop.
The tunnels cut across the corner of Parliament Square and point directly to the House of Lords and the House of Commons.
And what do you plan to use to destroy the houses?
Dynamite! Tomorrow night, we shall celebrate Guy Fawkes Plot along with the rest of England. While they burn Fawkes in effigy in the streets, we shall set off the dynamite. We meet at Mrs. Ward's tea shop tomorrow night at 10 sharp.
You understand exactly what you're to do, Watson?
Yes, exactly, Holmes. I shall tell the story to the Assistant Commissioner of Police. I'm to request that he send a special squad. You'd like them to hide around the corner from the tea shop, eh?
Precisely. And you must try desperately to convince him that his constables are to be armed. I realize it's an extraordinary demand, but perhaps he'll sense the danger.
Oh, by Jove, Holmes, he may not believe the story at all. He may not do a blessed thing.
Oh, we must risk it. Remember, Stuart asked me to meet him at the warehouse. He, Gerardo, and I will then proceed to the tea shop. There we'll meet the others at 10. If the police will cooperate, they should be at their posts at 9.
Holmes, you're running an unspeakable risk. Wouldn't it be wiser for both of us to try to convince the police to handle this themselves?
And allow them to make a botch of it? No, Watson, I must be on the scene myself.
Shouldn't you at least take along a revolver, a weapon of some sort?
Gerardo might decide to examine everyone entering the warehouse. No, Watson, I shall merely be accompanied by my second closest friend, my meerschaum pipe. Good evening, Mr. Stewart. Maud.
Hello.
Gerardo. Is everything in readiness?
Yes, yes. I have a carriage waiting outside this warehouse. We will be driven to the tube.
Excellent, Mr. Stewart.
You may distribute the weapons, Gerardo. Maud, you will wait here in the warehouse. When it is over, I shall send you.
All right, Daddy.
You have my revolver, Gerardo?
Yes, it is.
Give it to me.
And I?
Oh, we're not giving you a gun.
Why not, Mr. Stewart?
I would feel better if you were not armed. Mr. Sherlock Holmes?
Let me kill him now, Mr.
No.
Stewart.
No, Gerardo, no. Ever since his own face was burned off, Holmes, Gerardo enjoys giving the same experience to others.
You lied to us, Mr. Holmes. You've been lying all along.
We're not exactly fools, Holmes. That story you told Gerardo about your criminal background, we took the trouble to verify it. Oh, you're going to the tea room. Then after we set off the dynamite, we shall leave the tea room. But you will remain locked inside. You lied to me, Holmes. Everyone lies to me.
Stand up, Holmes. If you try any tricks, I'll slit your throat.
Just as you split Harold Pickering's The Link Boy?
Yes.
That was your handiwork, wasn't it, Gerardo? Pickering, with a keen professional interest in even the vaguest rumor concerning Parliament, must have taken up the scent to your society one evening, perhaps in the pub where Maud sings. He ran to me to bring the news. You followed him. My housekeeper reported that one of the assailants was repulsively ugly.
I could make you look just like me. I would like to.
Get away from him, Gerardo. Come on. We're leaving for the tea room. You first, Holmes. And remember, I have my finger on the trigger of my gun. Maud, stay here. You'll have word from us.
Good luck, Douglas.
We're leaving now, Holmes. Not much later, because I've taken an extra precaution. Since you might have notified the police that our maneuver is scheduled for 10, I've sent out word that we will set off the dynamite 1 hour earlier at 9. Come on. Carriage is waiting.
The tea room is just around the corner, Mr. Stewart.
You told Mrs. Ward to lock up earlier this evening, Gerardo?
Yes.
Well, Holmes, so you finally met someone who is your mental superior. Don't move. My gun is just a few inches from your head. Gerardo and I have a very good view of you from this back seat.
Oh, I had no evil intentions in moving, Mr. Stewart. I merely intended to light my pipe. It's gone out. Do you mind?
Go on.
Most considerate of you.
Here's the tea room.
Step out, Holmes.
Very well.
Walk to the door of the tea room. That's it.
Wait. I want to have a look here on the street.
See anyone?
No. All quiet.
No, Sherlock. Some of the men must be here by now.
Is that Mr. Stewart alive?
Come in. We're all in the back of the shop. Walk in, Holmes. Certainly. Close the door, Gerardo. Don't lock it. We'll have to run out once we set the fuse.
Yes.
Let's all go to the back. Shh, quiet. I gathered you here an hour earlier because we were almost betrayed. Yes. This gentleman standing before you, whom we took into our ranks, is Sherlock Holmes, the detective. He is to be left here just before we set off the dynamite. The fuses are quite long. They'll allow ample time for us to quit the shop and run a safe distance. Has the position of the dynamite been checked?
Yes, sir. Ready, sir.
We reassemble 30 minutes after the explosion. We meet at the warehouse. I shall be the last man to leave. I'm reserving for myself the pleasure of knocking Mr. Holmes in behind me.
I'm complimented, Mr. Stewart.
Are we ready? Yes, ready. Light the fuses, Gerardo.
I say anyone inside? This is the law. There's a carriage caught fire out here. Belong to anyone back there?
The alarm, Constable. Spread the alarm.
Shut up, Holmes. You dancing. The lamp. Holmes has smashed the lamp. Light.
Come on, light another lamp. We cannot see.
The door. Holmes will run to the door. Stop it.
Too late. I see his shadow out there. There you go.
Look outside, police. Barricade that door, Gerardo.
Yes, well,
Start firing. Fire. Get down. They have guns out there. Well, Holmes, I never thought you'd leave that tea shop alive.
Oh, I did. Watson.
Oh, it's a magnificent job you've done. Stewart and Gerardo have been taken to the morgue. Rest of the crew's packed off to prison. You set fire to that carriage outside the shop, didn't you?
Of course. I was in the front seat with the driver. He was preoccupied with his horses. Stewart and Gerardo, to keep an eye on me, purposely sat in the back. They could see most of me, but it was comparatively easy to drop a bit of hot ash from my pipe onto the upholstery. I knew that within a minute or two the carriage would catch fire. It would attract your attention, watching from the corner with the raiding party, or that of the constable on the beat. He poked his head in, sure enough.
I shall never cease admiring your quick-wittedness, Holmes.
Neither shall I, my dear Watson. Neither shall I. Well, Dr. Watson, the Guy Fawkes Society was certainly a blood-curdling experience. Now, might we have an inkling about our adventure with Holmes for next week?
Well, next week, Mr. Harris, I shall relate to you the adventure of Black Peter. It involves a steel harpoon, a dead pig, a proposed Arctic trip, an advertisement for a murder. And I'm quite sure you'll enjoy it.
We shall be here in your study promptly at the same time next week, Dr. Watson, for the adventure of Black Peter.
Here come the credits.
The makers of Clippercraft clothes and more than 1,200 stores from coast to coast have brought you another in the new series of broadcasts featuring the world's most famous detective, Sherlock Holmes. Our stories are based upon the character Sherlock Holmes, created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and the program is produced and directed by Basil. Sherlock Holmes is played by John Stanley. Dr. Watson by George Feldman.
George Feldman.
This week's story was written by Howard Merrill with special music by Albert Berman. If you don't know your Clippercraft dealer, write Clippercraft, 200 Fifth Avenue, New York City.
Just drop them a line.
Be sure to listen next week to Sherlock Holmes in The Adventure of Black Peter.
And there you go. That is the Guy Fawkes Society. One of the things that I always loved about radio shows done by Mutual, and The Shadow is one of them as well, is that they would record, pardon me, I'm just saying, a little dry lip action here. Oh, that's awful. Here, look at Spider Hat. Here, I'll fix it. Okay. One of the things that I love about this is, your comments are so great. I have to address them as well. They credit the writer. That is relatively rare. I mean, a lot of times if the writer is also the director or the producer, sure, there'll be credits there. But Ralph's right. It's unusual that they give the writer credit. And of course, Howard Merrill was his name. Black Peter, is that a Grateful Dead song? You would know better than I would, because I'm not a big follower of the Dead, literally, though I do enjoy them. And makeup, where is my makeup lady? One of the things that is really interesting about this series is it continued with these great actors. But George Feldman, I don't know anything about George Feldman. He is a really great Dr. Watson. But I will also say, I don't know how you feel. You can have, of course, your own preferences, but I happen to think John Stanley is right up there with one of the best Sherlock Holmeses, or the best, honestly. I don't know. He does sound an awful lot like Basil Rathbone, but he has great rhythm. He really moves the story forward. He plays the character extremely well. Would he have been as good a Holmes had we not already known the Basil Rathbone Holmes? I don't know. That's a question you can only answer in your heart. We should move it along, because I do like to keep the show under an hour, and I do tend to be kind of blabbery, especially when I have a good time, like I've had a great time with you guys watching this. I do want you to know that Weber Internet Thingy, which is our it is our, there we go, Weber Internet Thingy, which is our network, and we produce a lot of shows. We have got two great ones coming up this weekend. They are both at 5 p.m. One at 5 p.m. on Saturday, one at 5 p.m. on Sunday. Saturday's show, I will be joined by the fantastic Commander Joe Townsell, and the two of us, as the Retro Trekkers, will be doing a very heartfelt and very sentimental tribute to Terry Garr. Just one of the great, funny people who's done so much for people my age. Just absolutely, that's a very good point. Yes, Ralph, that's true. 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Thank you. Yeah, that is absolutely true. We will be talking about this episode, and it is a really interesting episode, as you may already know. We will be recapping and reviewing Assignment Earth. It was the episode that closed out season 2 of TOS, Those Old Scientists. I'm sorry, the original series of Star Trek. And we'll be discussing all the information that happened in this highly unusual episode. But Terry Garr is absolutely a shining light, and really so worth discussing. Then on Sunday, we will be joined by our friend Pris. Pris from the Have You Seen My Childhood podcast. She is hilarious, and she will be joining us to watch. I can't believe we're doing this. We're going to watch the after school special, The Day My Kid Went Punk. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope you'll join us for the watch party, because it's going to be, as you can guess, silly. So yes, Sunday, again, 5 p.m. Pacific time and 8 p.m. On the the Beast Coast, as I like to say. I'm from the East Coast. I kid. Yeah, it's one of those things that people will put up the original TV guide ad for it as a meme and show it like, and Joe and I are like, well, why don't we just watch it? Like, the fact that it exists is funny, but let's just watch it. Yes, that's a very good point, DJB. Thank you for pointing that out. We did create another channel, and it's called Retro Rangers HQ. If you watch our regular presence on Instagram, on Facebook, the Weber Internet Thingy on Facebook is a big place for me, but I'm also really on Instagram, and as you'll see from my personal handle, let me lower that. Hello, John Weber. That's how you can find me on Instagram. We're also over on Blue Sky, and we can have all sorts of discussion about why we're no longer on X/Twitter, but I think you know. So if you ever want to look on Blue Sky, it's fun, and there's a lot of really great people on it. I'm on it. Joe Townsley's on it. And I haven't seen all of my friends here on it yet, but if you are thinking about it, that would be a great one. Actually, Terry was not 18 in this one, Chris. I believe she was 23 years old. According to the information that I have. 23. Yeah. Very old and mature, 23. She was still a girl and still just delightful, just absolutely wonderful, and really worth discussing. So, yes, on regular old Weber Internet Thingy on YouTube, you can find us for Retro Trekkers. And then if you want to follow the breadcrumbs or just go directly to Retro Rangers HQ, you will find us for Sunday's show. And oh, there we go. Thank you so much, DJB. You are so much more organized than I am. So that's where we are, at Retro Rangers HQ. And oh, I saw that clip. I think I saw a clip from Shindig where Terry was a dancer. But yeah, I believe you're right about both shows, Ralph. She was just so cute. So cute. Oh, Chris, you're out here on the West Coast with us. That's fantastic. Us. A few of us, not Ralph. Quite a few people are still on the East Coast. God bless you. What else can I tell you? I think that's it. One more time. Please come back next week, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and we will you will watch me listen to Three Skeleton Key, probably one of the best radio shows I can think of. If somebody said, just name a really great radio show off the top of your head, Three Skeleton Key would be right there. That is a good question, Ralph. Ralph, you're in Jersey? You're a Jersey man right now, aren't you? I think. I don't know. We just love having oh my gosh, I'm heading towards an hour. We just love having a little, community here. Okay, my friends, we gotta go. We gotta keep it under an hour. Thank you so much. Tipping the spider hat to you for joining us. Ralph says, yes, he is in Jersey. The garden. When Ralph's out there, it's not so great. There we go. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me. Oh, that's my Billy. That's awesome. Goodbye, my friends. Oh, we're over an hour. Oh. So much fun. Thank you.